Start there. Hi, everybody. So this video is going to be about the pre-writing projects for the final essay for the class. We've written an essay on no exit, and this last essay is going to be essentially us designing it. You don't have to draw anything, you don't have to make anything, you don't actually have to do anything other than just sort of describe how you would have the characters look. Because as we will talk about momentarily, designing is not drawing, designing is...
choosing.
There you go. That's Liz, that's my wife. She does this. She is a costume designer. She makes costumes for Clarence Brown. It's actually watching her do her job that gave me the inspiration for this last project. And I like this last project primarily because theater needs to be seen. Like writing about it and critiquing it and talking about it the way we've talked about short stories isn't the way plays are supposed to be experienced. Computer's making noise.
Hi guys. So for your theater project, I hear you're going to be designing the play.
Have you ever seen or read No Exit?
I have seen parts of No Exit. I have never designed No Exit. I've not seen a stage production of it. One of those smaller plays. Only 4 characters, correct? 3?
Yep.
3 characters. Which is nice. And I like those kind of plays. I like to design them. The small ones are kind of fun because you can sink into the details. I'm a costume designer. I'm a costumer, which is 2 different things. Probably not worth getting into.
All right. So what happens first when you decide to make a play?
So the plays get chosen by, a sort of stable of people. They will choose the play. They will often choose the director, and often the director will choose the design team. So I would get called up and they would say, Liz, come design No Exit. So when you get a design gig, you first thing you ever do is read the play. And the first time I read the play, when I'm designing, what?
No.
You don't like that?
No. Hopefully we've all read the play.
Let's read the play. The first time I read the play when I am designing is I just read it. And I try not to really make a lot of decisions or try to really decide upon anything in my head when I am first reading a play. I just try to let it soak in and just kind of enjoy it as a spectator for the first time you go through it. So if you're going through the play, it is good to note things like season or character comes in and takes off coat. Stage directions is the better term for that. Or if another character says, wow, you have a beautiful green blouse on, you a lot of times need to pay attention to those kind of things. Hamlet wears black. They talk about him wearing black. He always wears black. It is written in the script that he wears black. And, perhaps you're picking up something from a character, things they're saying about themselves that you can deduce and put into the way they wear their clothes. If it says they're a very clean person, a very sloppy person, they're a hippie, they're a greaser, they're a punk. A lot of costume design is shorthand, visual shorthand for what you're supposed to take away from this person, this character.
Would you say that you do character analysis?
Yes, you do character analysis. Although my great mentor, Bill Black, would tell you that you don't want to tell someone's whole story through their clothes. You want the play to tell the story, you want the actors to tell the story, and you want the costume to be a part of it. But yes, character analysis is a huge part of designing costumes. You choose what you wear every day. You design your clothes that you come in, and maybe right now you're just in your PJs all the time out of comfort. But when you did go out into the world, you chose the clothes that you wanted to present yourself to the world. And it's a little bit like that.
When the time comes to do research, what kind of research do you do?
I do usually 2 kinds. Visual research, which basically just means finding images that feel like your characters, that feel like their personality, that just I don't know what is it about this guy, but this picture just makes me think of this character. I particularly like to take influence from film and TV that I see. Maybe a character, it doesn't have to be very literal, but maybe you want to design Alice in Wonderland, but maybe you want Alice to look like Betty Page. So maybe she's Alice, but maybe she has Betty Page bangs or something. Visual research is just kind of looking at pictures, and if visual research, if that's hard to get started with, you often can just flip through magazines, and I guess that's a very antiquated thing now. You can flip through any part of the internet. I love Pinterest. Anybody uses Pinterest? Tumble down a rabbit hole in Pinterest of images that maybe you just put in a word in your search that describes the person. I think in No Exit you've got your dude is, I don't know, he's a fucking jerk, right? You know, say you wanted him to look like a cowboy or something. You just start looking at images of cowboys, and then that would bring you around to, you know, Paul Newman and Brad Pitt, and, you know, you would find maybe an image that's like, you know, I like this image. I like the way Brad Pitt is standing in this image. I like the way he's wearing jeans in this image. So maybe I'm going to put my guy in jeans like this guy because there's just something that feels like it. I mean, just anything. I mean, scroll through Twitter, scroll through Facebook, scroll through Tumblr. What do the kids do? TikTok?
Scroll through TikTok. Yeah. The goal this time is it's make it something like from your neighborhood. Oh. Make it people that you would know. Who are the people in your neighborhood? Yes, exactly.
I think with that kind of research, you really want kind of real photos of real people. So you might want to look at news sites, Google Images. I mean, you can't get better than that. That's where I've gotten most of my images for the last decade when I've been doing costume design, is just, I need to look for a leather jacket. So I will Google leather jacket and just look and look and look and look. And as a costume designer, I'm not actually drawn very often to like catalog, you know, sales images for clothing, images of clothing for sale from historical periods. It isn't realistic. That we don't know people wore those clothes. We just know someone sold those clothes. So I actually much prefer to see real people wearing a leather jacket. Like, say, again, I said punk earlier. It's because, say, you want to make your guy a punk because you live in a neighborhood and you got a punky dude on the corner and he reminds you of that guy, let's say. So you just think about that. Think about what Sears catalog sells to look like a punk, and how different that would be if you Googled and found real images from punks from the 80s or the 70s in England, in New York. You're gonna get something more real, more gritty, more interesting. You know, they won't be perfect bodies, they won't be perfect faces, they won't be perfect hair. They will have character.
So then you find all these images.
Yes.
And how do you present them to the team?
I personally, and a lot of costume designers, a lot of designers like to put together kind of image boards. Like a couple of these things I'll put together in a collage. You know, maybe none of it's so literal. You know, perhaps, say again, we're making the guy a punk in my world, I guess. And say, so I'll get a cool picture of a leather jacket and get some Chuck Taylors in there, maybe a picture of that, and maybe some dirty denim. And maybe it'll be a pair of sunglasses I found from a whole other image somewhere. And I kind of will arrange them all together to create more of a unified idea, even if what I end up drawing or whatever doesn't actually literally have to be any of that. It just kind of becomes like the spirit of what you want to say about this person.
So you just make a collage.
Make a collage. Pretty much that easy. Besides just general visual research, I also often do historical research, which I don't think will necessarily matter to this play, but just so you know. Say if you want to set No Exit in 1971, you need to have images of what people really looked like in that time. But, so then I usually make a drawing, yes, that would be my collage. I will take and put in the blender of my mind and come out with a drawing that expresses what the collage said. And then I present those drawings, usually just black and white sketches, to the director. And then after that, you make a play. Good luck.
So you'll only really have to go as far as, well, I'll do the rest of it.
Don't sing if you want to live long.
All right, I want to shut up. I'm going to record the rest of this. So, where Liz would be drawing and then making clothes for a show that she has designed, all you really need to do is follow her process as far as image research and make a collage for the scene and for each of the 3 characters of the play, and post those boards to the discussion posts and discuss your choices and talk a little bit about why you have made the choices you have made, both in terms of how you read the character and how it relates to the environment of the play. In other words, places that you were familiar with, people that you would see, your neighborhood, so to speak. And then for the essay, rather than drawing anything or making anything, all you really need to do is explain your final choice in writing in essay form. There are plenty more instructions about how to write the essay online in the prompt. If you have any questions about that, obviously let me know. As far as the pre-writing work that we are going to do on the discussion posts between now and through next week, all it's going to be about is doing the image research and posting your photo board to the discussion post and talking about it a little bit. The easiest way to do this is to use the befunky.com software that I have posted and linked to. Instructions are provided online. If you have any trouble with that, let me know. Happy Google image searching. More about the essay coming next week. Obviously, thanks to my adorable wife, Liz. Maybe one day my daughter will be talented enough for me to have her help her on an essay project. We can only hope.